Here's what I've seen, and this is what everybody understands on this. For a period of almost probably close to 15 years of my career, I've done all the acquisitions myself. So, and I didn't realize until almost, 12 years ago that I really needed to change this to grow and then take it to a whole nother level. So what I did on that is, of course, I went on a lot of appointments, and I also started doing things. I was one of the original ones that started doing things virtually too, because I was doing virtual deals way before COVID was even thought of. That's
right.
And but what I realized was, there was a big need for understanding a true process to acquisitions. Because so many people go out there, and what they do, like, is they just go out there and they just throw out offers, and I started thinking about this and saying, okay, we need to think about this in a way of a true process. If you look at it, and it goes from everywhere, from the way you think, the way you talk to people, the tone that you have, and everything. So, yeah, and some of the things that drastically changed on my side of things when I was doing, acquisitions myself. Like I said, I went on thousands of appointments myself, and I realized that I had to start just, not be like everybody else. So, one, I changed it from this thinking of constantly making offers, and I changed it to focus of creating solutions. So I thought, okay, let's focus on creating solutions versus just making offers. Because anybody can freaking make an offer. Okay. So, and I started thinking, okay, how can we focus on creating solutions? So behind that, what I started realizing that also that what I always look at was all leads follow a path. And that is, if you look at a lead coming in, it's basically going to either be what I call a discount deal or a terms deal, or a combination of both. And as a real estate investor, that's the only two real directions you're going to go. There is nothing else. We can do all these different creative strategies, but that's going to tie down to either a discount deal or a terms deal or a combination of both. So I started looking at that, and I said, okay, how can I take this and really start focusing on creating solutions for people versus just saying, hey, this is what I can give you for your property. So I changed everything around where I started focusing on, like, number one, I started focusing on programs. Okay. So get this, Mike. So when somebody would come to me about things, let's just say that I was working with a seller, and their property, they owed too much on it. So what I would do, I would say, oh, I'm so sorry, Mike. Unfortunately, your property doesn't qualify for our cash out program, but I do have another program that it might qualify for. Would you be interested in hearing more about that option?
Yes.
See how that transitions right over?
Right. Yeah, you're like putting them in channels, right? You're putting them on different paths. It's not just like, can I just offer them the right price, or you're putting them through different processes. I like that.
Yeah, it was a total game changer on that side of things. Because everybody else was just, all they were doing is going out and acting like everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, it's what I can give you. And I was totally different. I was like, let me talk about the different programs I have and how I can help you out. And let me show you how this affects you. And it was a total different way of looking at things. Now, another thing too that you just brought up was something I started looking at called price qualifying. Now, I'll tell you where this came from, Mike. This is interesting. So this was back in right in the early 2000s. I was working with a mortgage broker that I had been working with for years about sending them buyers all the time. And I remember being in his office, and I always remember him sitting there with a individual that was going to be borrowing the money. And I remember him saying, hey, he says, let me show you here what you qualify for. And I kept thinking about that, and I thought, what if I changed a little bit of my wording, and then I started doing the qualifying to my sellers. And it was interesting when I tried this. And I tried it with all different types of sellers. So what I would do, instead of saying, hey, this is what I can offer you for your home, Mike, I'll say, Mike, I've looked over the numbers and things, and it looks like I'm trying everything I can, my man. I'm really pushing this for you, but it looks like the best I can get your property qualified for is $65,126.
That's genius.
Here's the cool thing. Yeah, and Mike, here's the cool thing about it. When I started doing this, I noticed something. Now, it wasn't like it was every single time it didn't work, but it continued to get better and better. And one thing I noticed was this, and that is, you think about the human mind and how it gets trained on things. So if I tell you that I'm going to make you an offer, typically most people have a reaction that they should make a counteroffer.
Mm-hmm.
So what I started doing is I started letting them know what the property qualifies for. Well, the thing is, their mind didn't know how to accept that. So I started noticing that a big chunk of people were never making counteroffers because I never made them an offer.
Right.
So I just told them what the property qualified for.
Right.
And
that's awesome.
The cool thing about it, I started noticing a lot of people just coming to me and asking me. So instead of them going and say, well, I need this out of it, and in regard to a counteroffer, they would turn around and say a lot of times, well, is there any way that you can get that qualified for a little bit more? So now they're asking me, and now they're coming to me for help, versus just giving me a counteroffer. It was such a game changer on things, brother.
Yeah, it's almost like you're like a mortgage broker. You're going and seeing what they qualify for and what their interest rate is, versus you and them just like bargaining and negotiating on a price.
Yeah.
You're making it seem
almost more like official or standardized. I like that a lot. I thought that was really smart when you told me that, because you know everyone's doing the same thing. They're calling, they're sending out mail, and they're like, hey, I'll buy your house cash, quick close, I'll pay the closing costs, there's no real estate agent commissions, what's the best cash price you'll take? You know, that's like what a lot of wholesalers are saying. So if you can come at a different angle when you're dealing with the same sellers that all these other wholesalers are talking to, because everyone knows if you're doing deals and you're contacting distressed sellers, tax delinquent, whatever it is, a lot of times they've already spoken with other cash buyers or other wholesalers who are already giving them offers. And you know, if you come from a more like standardized, different approach, I definitely can see that working, because I've tried to do the same thing as well. When I'm speaking with sellers, I would try not to just say the same thing that everyone else is saying. I would really try to let them know that I am the end buyer and that it's not going to be wholesaled, and I would kind of give them some info about wholesaling, and then just close on the property myself and not do an assignment fee. But with what you're saying, it just makes it look and sound so much more professional and official and more like corporate almost, versus like one-man band like trying to bargain you down and trying to like lowball you. You know, it makes them feel like they're being lowballed if you're just throwing a cash offer at them and it's lower than what they want, even though it needs to be at that price based on like logic, because no one's gonna go buy a house, put 20, 30, 40 grand into it, and then sell it just to break even. And a lot of times when you explain that to the seller, they get it. They're like, oh, well, I get it. You got to buy it there so you can put the money in and then sell it and make money so it's worth your time. But a lot of times people just get pissed off if you tell them a number and they don't like it, and they're not thinking about what it actually qualifies for in the investor world. We all pretty much are playing by the same rules. We need it, like 60, 70 cents on the dollar so that we have enough room to make a good 20, 30% ROI. But I just love that, the way you do that. You got any other